The apple harvest is a huge economic driver in the Champlain Valley this time of year. And the people responsible for that harvest typically aren't locals. They're men from Jamaica. Some of them have come here for decades to pick apples on work visas. They live here for up to 6 months at a time, often longer than retirees or seasonal residents. But their acceptance in the community is a slower process. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from the St. Lawrence County Community Development Program, now accepting applications for the Head Start program to prepare children ages 3 to 5 for school. Online at slccdp.org/head-start.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, October 22nd. First up, a new poll shows Vice President Kamala Harris has a commanding lead in New York State over former President Donald Trump. John Campbell reports for the New York Public News Network.
58% of likely New York voters say they're backing Harris, according to the Siena College poll. That's compared to 39% backing Trump. That Harris has a big lead statewide isn't surprising. New York hasn't backed a Republican for president since Ronald Reagan. But Harris only has a 5-point edge in New York City's suburbs. It's a key battleground where a strong showing by the vice president could help Democrats flip a few congressional seats. U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is on the ballot as well. According to Siena, she's got a 26-point lead over Republican Mike Sapricone. In Albany, I'm John Campbell for the New York Public News Network.
The French company that plans to build a massive commercial solar facility in Canton is trying to ease some residents' concerns about the project. As Catherine Wheeler reports, the company is offering to build a walking trail and possibly gardens near the site.
EDF Renewables has received state approval to build a 240-megawatt commercial solar development just outside of the village of Canton. The Rich Road Solar project will cover 1,700 acres. It would be the largest solar development in St. Lawrence County. Haley Farrington with EDF says they've assembled a community group after a resident reached out asking to be more involved in the Rich Road plans. She says what's come forward are ideas for recreation opportunities to be built in the development's setback areas.
One is a walking/nature trail, and other is a community garden/agricultural incubator area.
Farrington says these plans are separate from tax payments and other deals the company will make with local governments. Some community members have been critical of the Rich Road project because of its position on Route 11. They've said a large-scale solar facility won't look good as drivers enter the village. Farrington says there have been difficult conversations about the development and its impact on Canton, but she says it's important for the company to build trust and involve residents in the plans.
Having these meetings, having these conversations, and eventually one or both of the designs moving forward, that's a way that is tangible for most community residents to feel like they're a part of the project.
Farrington says the community group is still accepting ideas and feedback, and people are welcome to join the conversation. The community group will meet tonight at 6:30 at the Best Western in Canton. More details on how to RSVP are on our website, ncpr.org. Catherine Wheeler, North Country Public Radio.
Apple season is in full swing, and so is the apple harvest. Many of the pickers working in the Champlain Valley's apple orchards are from Jamaica. The workers are well known in the town of Peru, where hundreds of Jamaicans work on special visas. David Escobar traveled to an orchard to learn more about the men behind the North Country's apple harvest.
A cold wind is rustling through rows of apple trees. It's a brisk October afternoon at Rolf's Orchard in Peru, which is at the height of its busiest season. Roy Williamson is making his rounds on a farm ATV. He's worked at the orchard since 1988. The staff knows him as Eddie, and he's a very busy man.
My role here, whatever they say, Eddie, can you do that? I said, no problem.
Williamson is one of 16 men who traveled from Jamaica to work at Rolf's Orchard in Peru this season. Some of them, like Andrew Holgate, live and work in Peru from April to November. I watch as he climbs a specialized 3-legged ladder and carefully plucks Macintosh apples. He says it's a delicate process.
Picking the apple takes a lot of skill, because you have to pick them, can't pluck them, You have to leave it to the stem. You can't bruise them. And you got to have a lot of skill to pick perfectly.
After climbing down the ladder with an apron pouch full of apples, Holgate eases the load into a giant crate. It's a skill he's developed over the past 27 seasons at Rolf's. Holgate is part of a long tradition that started in the 1980s. Rolf started recruiting Jamaicans under a federal visa for temporary agricultural workers called H-2A. Some, like Holgate, come for almost 9 months to manage the farm's day-to-day operations. Others, like Mark McClune, come for 6 weeks to help with the harvest. He says that month and a half away from home can be taxing.
I miss my family. I have 2 beautiful sons and a wonderful grandson. I miss my grandson, but I'm here to provide for them. So, it gives me courage knowing that, I'm providing for my home and family.
Many of the Jamaicans say well-paid agricultural jobs are sparse back home. H-2A workers here make nearly $18 an hour, good pay by Jamaican standards. But Leroy McCarthy says the money isn't everything. He started working at the orchard nearly 20 years ago after leaving a sugarcane farm in Florida.
I enjoyed working with these people here, and they're nice to me.
McCarthy and his crew partner are in charge of packaging the apples. They weed out imperfect ones before meticulously packing the good ones into half and full peck bags. Jamaican workers at Rolf's pick, sort, and pack thousands of pounds worth of apples every day. Rolf's co-owner Amanda Wisher says their labor is indispensable, especially during the busy harvest season.
We wouldn't be able to run without them. Local labor is basically non-existent at this point.
Farms are responsible for transporting and housing workers, which can cost thousands of dollars. But Wisher says it's been a worthwhile investment. She's the 3rd generation of Rolf's owners who've employed apple pickers from Jamaica. She says that's built strong relationships with the returning workers, who've become experts in the orchard's operations.
We're lucky enough that we get the same guys that come back every year. They know the farm better than we do. They don't have to be told what to do. They come and they know exactly what their job is. They know the soil. They know they know everything.
Another thing has changed over the years: the town's reception of Jamaican workers. Paul Fisher's worked at Rolf's for 23 years. He says some community members were hostile in his first few seasons, but attitudes have changed.
Maybe 15, 20 years, it used to be like that. But now everybody is so socialized. And I know so many people. When I don't come, people ask for me. So, everybody just get together. They just get to know us coming here to work.
The Jamaicans say the community has begun to embrace them like locals. Stores stock shelves with Jamaican products like ginger beer and jerk seasoning. Some workers say they've also seen more diverse people coming to visit and even live in the Peru area. That change has made longtime apple pickers like Denzel Reed feel a sense of belonging in the North Country.
Very loving set of people. Always see we call to us, greet us. Yeah, make me feel at home.
As the season winds down and the last apples are picked, the workers at Rolf's are preparing to head back to Jamaica. They'll bring back the fruits of their labor and the knowledge that next year they'll be back. David Escobar, North Country Public Radio in Peru.
David took amazing photos of the Jamaican apple pickers. You can find them on our website, ncpr.org. It's the last few days of our fall fundraiser, and we still have more than $100,000 left to raise. That's a lot of money that can be put towards this kind of regional and local journalism that you just heard and you hear every day on Story of the Day. It takes all of us to sustain this important work about truth, about visibility, about exploration in our North Country. Please do your part now. Donate what you can. Any amount is great. Go to ncpr.org/give. Thanks so much. Music today by Caitlin Scholl of Lake Placid and Danny Thomas of Canton. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.